everyone. Ronnie Landis here, and I want to welcome you to lesson 2 of our special introductory training session for sharing with you some of the powerful motivations behind the Holistic Health Mastery Institute and all the cutting edge and expansive information and perspectives that we're sharing on every aspect of nutrition, holistic health, and personal development that I believe are paramount for instilling a sense of inspiration that causes us to experience more respiration in our life, right? More breath of life, more life force energy circulating throughout our physical matrix that allows us to express and to stop regressing everything that we want to experience in our life and that we want to share in the world. And so this training video is about superfood saturation. Now, a lot of you, especially if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm heavy into the idea of superfoods. I think superfoods are probably nature's greatest gift in the age of opulent abundance that we have available to us for so many reasons. One of the main reasons that I love superfoods so much is that it represents something very important in our civilization, is that we're so disconnected from authenticity, from originality, from a sense of nobility in what is actually original in the landscape of our earth that we live on. And so we're so deep into like pharmaceutical and supplemental consciousness where we think that if we have like a vitamin C deficiency, we have a vitamin D3 deficiency, a vitamin E deficiency, a vitamin K, K2, a vitamin A deficiency, a tryptophan, 5-HTP, depression, melatonin, serotonin, dopamine deficiency, a magnesium deficiency, so on and so forth. We need to go take an isolated form of it. We need to get it out of a pill or a capsule. And I'm not saying that we don't ever do those things. What I am saying is that superfoods represent a return to the pharmacopoeia and the cornucopia of nature's brilliance. And the way that nature actually organizes itself in such a perfect design that it meets the needs of what we need at every turn. What do I mean by that? Well, we live in an age where we have unlimited, expansive options as to how we can organize our diet. Something that was never, ever bestowed upon humanity ever before. Every single culture in the world had its own subsect of staples based on their immediate references in their ecosystem. So, for example, the Egyptians had aloe vera. They had honey and bee products. The Mesoamericans, they had corn, they had chia seeds, they had cacao, they had many other things. The Chinese, for example, the Chinese had goji berries, they had schizandra berries, they had an incredible illustration of herbal adjuncts that they called their herbal emporium, that we called Chinese herbalism. The Vedic system had raw goats or raw dairy products, they had ghee, butter. They had many other things, so on and so forth. We could go down the whole rabbit hole. The point is, this is the first time, based on technological innovation of communication, based on our ability to communicate with different cultures and create collaborations and create that mosaic and start to experiment with all these different things, that we've been able to actually create an opulent menu board of nature that we could actually create our lifestyle out of. Hopefully that makes sense. Basically what I'm talking about is superfoods represent opulent prosperity in the optimization of our human body, of the lighthouse of our mind, how we can put in certain foods that act like whole food supplements that actually turn on the brain, that actually help with insulating our nerve fibers so we're not susceptible to breaking down neurologically based on the environmental toxicity that we live in, based on hormonal disruptors, based on the insane amount of stress and hypercortisol stimulation that we live in. It actually comes in at the perfect time to insulate us from the absurd onslaught of stress in our environment, in our excessive workforce-focused culture. That's why superfoods to me are absolutely critical, and I always put an emphasis on integrating certain superfoods into our lifestyle at all times, right? And there's a lot of different perspectives I could go on, but I want to, again, drive the point that if someone has been on, let's say they've been on only raw food diet, meaning they've been pretty much just eating fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, seaweeds, maybe they're eating fermented foods, edible flours, all the natural things that we identify as natural foods from our environment, or more realistically from a supermarket or even a farmer's market. Those are the foundation of any well-constructed diet. I mean, no matter what the diet ideology is out there, raw plant food is the foundation. It's the blueprint. And anyone that actually proposes that we need to eat a dominantly cooked food diet, we need to eat a dominantly animal-based diet, like a lot of the Paleolithic theoretical diets out there, to me, they're missing some very important philosophical and insights that actually help represent what the human diet is really about and what our spiritual expression is channeled through from a nutritional perspective. How can we channel more life force energy throughout our body? Well, the first thing is we need to be well constructed based on the information of the plant world. If we don't have enough plant information in our body, we're going to be a little more dense. We're going to be a little more unable to sense the sensitivities in our body. We're going to overrun our body with dense material, and we're going to become dense and actually gravitationally suppressed in getting closer to the ground, figuratively, metaphorically, and literally. That's been my observation after watching all the dietary kind of avenues that people propose and seeing the results over long terms of time of people doing these diets. So let me digress from that whole point. So no matter what diet someone is adopting, superfoods are critical, because superfoods represent the missing holes in every single diet. No matter what diet we're talking about, there's going to be holes. There's going to be places of interest that we need to create an insurance policy based on health assurance, not based on a pharmaceutical, allopathic, medical approach to getting more financial accumulation in that model, based on marketing and whatever else they're telling us that we need. From that part, we've realized as a culture that we actually need to go back to what nature presents. And so that's where superfoods really reign supreme in, is filling in the gaps of our diet with certain nutrients, with mineral concentration that we need for all functions of our life cycle, no matter where we are hormonally, whether we're a man or a woman, we're a child, we're 29, 25, 30, 40, 50, we're elderly. We all need this broad spectrum of nutrition that's not present in our ordinary produce or ordinary food options. So what are the top superfoods out there that really fit this model? And when I say superfoods, I want to make it known that I'm also speaking from a reference of foods that were historically staples in the greatest civilizations in the world. It's not just stuff that showed up on our radar, like acai berry, that a lot of people think is like, oh, this is a new thing. Acai berry has been in the Brazilian culture, in the Amazonian culture for a long, long time, way before Wheaties and French toast and whatever else, right? So what are the top foods in my opinion? In no specific order, it's all context related, but I think probably it starts with cacao. Raw chocolate is the #1 superfood in my opinion, just because of its accessibility, because of its unique energetic imprints. What does that mean? Now I'm speaking a little esoterically, but this is based on my experience and the experience of other people I've come across, is that these foods imbibe a certain vibration. They actually carry the energetics of their environment and the love and intention and joy that went into the cultivation and the growth and the distribution of these foods. Cacao is probably the highest on that scale for opening the heart. I've noticed that people that are against chocolate, that are against cacao, like the anti-cacao brigade and the antagonists to chocolate, tend to be very neurotic. They tend to be up in their head and very abacus and like trying to weigh things out. And that's not really what I advise. I think we need to get back into our heart. That's why it's called the cardiozoic age. And we're getting out of the cyberzoic age, which is the age of the mind. We're getting into our heart. Chocolate's the #1 food for that. And then things like noni fruit, things like aloe vera, goji berry, schizandra berry, things like hemp seeds, ground flaxseed, not flaxseed oil, because flaxseed oil is missing its lignin fibers and actually tends to be more concentrated in its phytoestrogens. So but ground flaxseed in its whole form or its ground form is very, very important for hormonal health, for detaching and extracting a lot of the xenoestrogen saturation in the body. I find it to be a very underrated food that I think is definitely a superfood for many reasons. Things like chia seeds, things like, there's coconut products. Coconut products are probably like the top 5. You know, it probably goes from like cacao, spirulina, like the algae is cacao, spirulina, chlorella, blue-green algae, marine phytoplankton, and then coconut products, meaning coconut water, coconut meat, and specifically coconut oil. I really encourage everyone out there to start Googling coconut oil versus cognitive decline, coconut oil versus Alzheimer's. Start to Google it and you will see amazing testimonials, amazing research on the power that the medium chain fats present in coconut oil, the very unique fats in coconut oil, have on neurological protection and also enhancing brain activity, enhancing focus, enhancing the ability to retain information and memory potential. A lot of times people have issues like Alzheimer's and dementia, which are age-associated cognitive declines or neurodegenerative conditions. It's really tragic because you imagine all the wealth of information that someone has accumulated in their lifetime, and for them to have it all escape from their experience and all their loved ones just because they weren't given the right information going through their life cycle. I find that to be a tragedy. Everyone that comes down with any form of cancer, diabetes, digestive infection, autoimmune condition, neurological breakdown, that is such a tragedy. It's like losing a vault of knowledge that someone accumulates in their lifetime that could be actually put into incredibly productive means for all forms of sustainability and life enhancement for everyone on the planet. That is all lost to us because these people weren't given the right information. So that's why I'm doing this video for all of you, is I want to inspire everyone to start sharing this information, start to share the inspiration and the motivation behind applying high raw and superfood saturation into our lifestyle. So there you go. That's the 101 on superfood saturation. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.